I'm so sorry. It's been such a long time since my last video, almost a month. I have been very busy, not so much with gardening, but I want to show you what's growing in our February vegetable garden, summer, because it's awesome. Come take a look. Look how many beautiful tomatoes we are getting on these tomato plants. These are the Sweet 100s. There's just so many of them. And I have to tell you, these tomatoes taste delicious. Early on in the season, I was getting 1 or 2 ripe tomatoes a day, and now you can see they're all starting to ripen up at the same time, and we're just getting so many beautiful tomatoes. I've got my cucumbers over here. These took a little while to get going, but now we're starting to enjoy some decent cucumbers on there. They're quite spiky, these ones, but they taste really good. So crunchy. You might remember from an earlier video I was talking about my mystery plants from a colleague. This is my mystery plants. I knew there was some kind of pepper kind of thing, and this is what we've got so far. I reckon they'll be delicious, roasted and stuffed with like a cheesy filling. Over here we have our biggest surprise package. I've talked about my watermelons a lot because, as you know, from the very first day, I didn't think these were going to grow, and now look at that. And you can tell I didn't expect these to survive because of the way that I've got them growing up a very thin wire frame. There is no way that wire frame is going to support this watermelon now that it's growing. Let me tell you the trick here. So what was happening in the beginning is I was getting all these beautiful buds like that, and I was thinking, wow, this is so cool, I'm going to have all these watermelons, and then all of them would just die, and I couldn't quite work out why. And I saw something online about hand pollination, so I decided to give hand pollination a go, and these were hand pollinated just about a week ago, and maybe a few days earlier, and now look how quickly they were growing. They were that size, I reckon, 1 to 2 weeks ago. You can see over here, these were slow burners, but these chilies are all starting to appear. The strawberries over here are still ticking along nicely. My zucchini plant over here, which the mice and possums have been loving. The zucchini's growing down the bottom there, you can see. But the bloomin' possums often get to them before I do. We've got lettuces growing in our veggie pod over here. I've been keeping the lid off the veggie pod because I have a much better success rate of controlling the aphids that way. These are my beans at the front here. I have had a look at other people's beans and they're doing so much better than mine. There's 2 reasons why. One, I don't think pots are right for beans. I think they need to be in a proper garden bed. So next time I won't be growing them in pots. 2, the possums stripped these all back and almost destroyed them. I've since moved them into a different location, which is a little bit more out in the open, and the possums are now leaving them alone. So we're back to enjoying some beans. But these are not nearly as bushy and luscious as they should be. So lesson learned, next time I won't be planting beans in pots. They'll be going into the garden. This here is my cucamelon plant, which I had given up on a few times. It was just too slow to grow. I actually forgot about it. It just got left there in a tiny, tiny little pot. And then I checked it a little while later and it was just continued to grow. So I've just recently potted that in a proper pot with more space. And as you can see, we're starting to get all sorts of little buds on there. Speaking of little buds, how cute is that ladybird? Is that an egg or a nest there or something? Ladybird is holding on to, what is it? Maybe I'm going to Google that. That's really interesting.